Oh, hey, excuse me? Hey, I was wondering if, that toy you had, my cousin has the same one. Can I take a picture of it? The toy?
No, no, no.
Oh, my bad.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, as you can see, I think you got a brief look at it, maybe. There was an orange dinosaur toy in the car and a queen mattress that they had. Look what I just bought today. It's a twin mattress. Intex. Twin. And they have a queen one in there with an orange toy. Like a orange dinosaur type toy. I don't think the camera quality was very good for that video, but still. I mean, I think that's pretty crazy. Like I told you, they have an addiction to buying and making things more apparent, the things that I'm about to buy or something similar, and things that I could buy. And like I said, they've been putting lots of toys around recently, the last couple weeks to a month. And that one, believe it or not, was a orange dinosaur toy. Mix that with the day where there was a guy with a green frog toy and a dog, the guy holding a purple dinosaur near his penis, and a kid holding a green dinosaur while he was in a wheelchair. So, like I said, those aren't humans. They're all in cahoots. They're all working together. They're all part of the same hive mind. They're all demon people. They're all reptilians. And this is the only evidence that people ever get in the world. And I need somebody brave enough to look at the evidence. Because I know there's humans out there. I know for a fact that there's a bunch of humans, billions of them. So, I mean, what am I supposed to tell people? I have to tell people the truth and say America is a lot of demons. Probably the most of them. And they feast on all of your resources. They feast on all your peoples. America being known as like a satanic country. America being known as someone who is evil. Well, it's Satan. That would kind of make sense that it's all Satan. I mean, everyone, the Western world isn't just about human rights and freedom. It's like a Trojan horse almost. It's made to look normal, that it's just for human freedom and human rights, and that it's the beacon of hope, when it is and it isn't. On the surface, it would appear like that, but no one knows the true depths of insanity and evil and lack of religion that happiness and freedom can bring. Along with, and I'm not saying that being happy is bad, I'm saying that, I can go more in depth into that later, I'm saying it comes with a lack of religion and a lack of proper culture and moral structures that America has and the Western countries have. And not that the Eastern countries, I guess it's down to a debate, and sometimes it's some semantics, but it's one of those things where it's like there's a pro and con, but Satanists have tried to devour Western culture and poison it and turn it into a satanic culture, in the sense that more and more there's, I mean, it's hard to say, it's like racism, misogyny, a lack of religion, sexuality, just so many categories and subcategories of ways that Western, and also I'm not saying that Eastern is the only pinnacle of hope and light. I'm just saying that there's lots of bad stuff or negative stuff with Eastern countries too. North, South, everywhere. But the West is almost like a Trojan horse and like a cancer on the earth. And it's eating up all the resources everywhere else and making everywhere else look bad. But everywhere is bad. The whole world is bad. The whole world is evil right now. And the only way to fix it is getting rid of the cancer, or else it'll metastasize and grow and spread. And the cancer is not just the lizard people, but the cancer has become the very people that the lizard people and the reptilian devils and people who work for them also by proxy. Meaning, imagine if Satan was a giant machine that is tearing down the world bit by bit, and the people who are doing it don't even know they're in it. You know the Power Rangers, how it's like 5 people and like one robot? Like they have that big robot they make into and assemble? Or other things where it'll be like a giant robot and it has different people in it. Now imagine if the people in the robot didn't know they were part of it. Like someone's like, oh, I just file paperwork for the government. I just do this. I just guard this building. I just shoot this gun. I just do this. I answer these phone calls. I've passed this law, I've passed this bill, and I've done this, I've done that. And they didn't know that they were part of this oligarchy or this hive-like entity. I'm not talking about the fact that reptilians are a literal hive mind. I'm talking about the people that work for them by proxy. Meaning, imagine if I had a bunch of criminals that didn't know they were criminals. Imagine if there was people imagine if I had a building like this, and I tricked them into thinking it was a job, and I had like a secretary, I had people like putting mail in somewhere else, and they like, oh, well, my job's to take this mail and put it into this box, and that's all I do. And they didn't know that there was drugs in it. It's something like that. Like, and you interview the guy, and you're like, what's your job? It's like, oh, I'm just a mailman. I'm just this, I'm just that. I'm not saying that mailmen transport drugs, although sometimes they do by accident. I'm saying that it's like a bunch of people in these governments and in these jobs. Like, imagine you're in the movie industry, and like, oh, I made this part. Imagine 20 people came up with the idea for one movie, and it accidentally poisoned the minds of however many people. And that's all normalized because of what people did hundreds of years ago, and hundreds of years ago, and 100 years ago, and however many years ago, all because of Satan. So they're working by Satan by proxy without even knowing it. And say you make a TV show, and you think it's normal to put boobs in the show. You think it's normal to put sex and violence and swear words, and you think it's normal because you see it everywhere around you. It's a slow descent, like a frog being boiled in water. And that's what our culture is becoming, where if you put an animal around radioactive radiation, they'll get cancerous and their species will change. Or, put an animal in a different place, like some sort of Darwinism, or, how do I say this? Put someone in a bad area, they'll be raised badly. And culture is one of the big things. Now there's what decides how someone is raised? Environmental factors, how many parents, the age of the parents, if the parents went to college, how much religion there was. So many factors depend and decide how successful someone might be, or what someone is like and how happy they are in life, and what type of job they'll get. Now, imagine those are all factors like a bubble. Now, but the bubble around them, I think the most important bubble is the moral structures and the culture around them. Now, the moral structures and the culture around them is you have to look up what culture is online and study all the variants and all the different subcultures that society can have. Now, Satan infiltrated schools and tried to make it so that humans would have done this on their own to some extent, but Satan kind of exacerbated it and progressed it and enhanced it and exaggerated it, and then put it in movies so that people would see it in movies, and monkey see, monkey do. Like, if you're cool, you do drugs. If you're cool, you smoke. It's cool to smoke. If you smoke, you're cool. It's bad to be smart. It's bad to follow the rules. It's not cool to follow the rules. It's not cool to do this. It's not cool to be religious. Like in a movie, there might have been a couple humans that are I don't know, I'll depict the religious person as this person, this type of group as this person, this type of group as this person. But then Satan was like, let's take that and try and pull the octopus that humans can be in every which direction. Let's try and make it so black people have to talk a certain way. Well, they'll think they have to talk a certain way. Let's make it so white people talk a certain way. Let's make it so Southerners talk a certain way. This group talks like this group talks like this. Let's make it so that people think conservatives have to be like this, and liberals have to be like this, and this group has to be like this, and this group has to be like this, and it's like playing Skittles with humanity almost. Not Skittles, it's like separating humanity, and then people, imagine someone being born, it's like these slots that they go down. Which slot will you go into? You ever seen someone drop the ball and it goes like that. Now, culture is one of the main factors that decide someone's moral structure, I would say, in my opinion. And that is what's being poisoned around us to the point where it won't matter your environment. It won't matter how many parents you have. It won't matter if your parents were in a religion. It won't matter if your parents went to college. It won't matter how much money they're making. Everyone will be raised in a cesspool, a cancerous culture that will only raise people for the worst. Eventually, it'll be like children raising children. It'll be like drug addicts raising more drug addicts. And also, that's another thing, is the DNA. The genetics behind people. Drug addicts having sex with drug addicts makes other drug addicts. Mentally ill people making other mentally ill people. And a drug addict, mentally ill person mating with another drug addict, mentally ill person, making more drug addicts and mentally ill people. Eventually, everyone. It's like your body it's like the human. If this was humanity, it's like humanity is like walking like this, and like the only thing that is left is like their head a little bit, and like their like this part of them, and everything else is like rotting away, and humanity is like this now, and they don't even notice it. Humanity is like a worm that can't see where it's going and can't move directly to get in the direction it's going. Instead of humanity going like this, it's going like this. Like, no, instead of humanity going like this, it's going like this. If that makes sense. Humans don't even know that we all have to view ourselves as part of the same organism and and members of each other. Meaning it talks about in 1 Corinthians and in Romans, in the Bible, which is what Jesus Christ, preached last time. And if you, as a human being, if you tried the best for yourself and around you, and then your neighbors did the same, it would spread. Just like how evil can spread, and ignorance can spread, and drug addiction can spread. And like, it's just people have no idea how interconnected on a web we are. And it's not just about actions and inactions and behavior. I mean, stuff from hundreds of years ago are affecting us now. Where like one thing that happens could have taken humanity from this way, or this way, or this way, all in time. Here can affect here. Something here in time could affect something down the line way over here. I know it sounds crazy and delusional, but it's really not. I mean, that's why we all have to beware. Like finding $20 on the ground. Imagine if someone found $20 on the ground and they were about to be late for a bus, and they would have been late for work, and they would have gotten fired, and then they found $20 and they weren't fired, and that $20 someone else lost, and that guy that found the $20, he would have killed himself if he didn't find that $20 because he was depressed and was almost going to lose his job, and him killing himself would have made another family kill themselves. And then because those two deaths in the family, a bunch of people did drugs and infected their generations down the line. And it was like a cancer, all because someone didn't or did find $20. And imagine if someone lost $20 and in turn they were late for work and killed themselves and had another family kill themselves. And there's a family that got a miracle from that $20 and the guy lost it. The opposite happened. Equal and opposite reactions. Like the butterfly effect. When a butterfly flapping its wings can cause a disaster somewhere else. And that's why people have to be careful. And because some people might say, well, what does it matter what I do? It doesn't affect anyone. That's a dangerous statement, but it's an understandable one. So I think everyone has to be really, really careful about their actions. And people don't understand what makes a human a human. What makes someone become someone? It isn't race. That's one of the least defining characteristics of what defines someone. It's where you're raised, your culture, the moral structures in your society, in your town, people who you will hang out with, people, what you see on TV is another major one. But like I said, that is a subcategory of the culture, because what defines what you watch on TV is the culture in that area and the culture of your country and of your town and of your whatever. So we're being poisoned slowly in a way where we might not notice the poisoning. I mean, I'm not talking just poison our food, which is happening more and more GMOs and stuff like that, and things getting more calories, more sugar, more stuff like that is bad for you. But a lack of culture where, like, it's not part of the culture. And an example of a healthy culture might be, well, I know of a town where they don't watch TV that much. They don't play video games that much. They work out there often. They work out there, they pray, they eat healthy, very, very healthy. They study, and that's their culture in that area. And people who are born in that area tend to do better, whatever race they are, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, any single race ever, and whether they have mental illness, and there's less drug addiction there because of said reactions and culture in that area. I mean, culture is the most important thing ever, much, much more than race or anything. Not that race should be ignored, but that's one of the reasons why there's so many misinterpretations and arguments and about race and racism, and people might get targeted when they shouldn't. Like black people, it's not because of their skin why there's more crime committed. It's because of the city, and the cities have been poisoned by a satanic culture that Satan specifically targeted the black community so that in the end they could blame it on the white people and cause a civil war. And it's been their plan for a long time to do that. And, you know, black, African American, colored, whatever you go by, I mean, I thought colored wasn't a thing anymore, and all of a sudden it came back. It's because people have this herd mentality and this desire to be liked, be new, be different, be seen, be away from a group, and at the same time as wanting to be a group, where they want to be the most important one, where humans, through this poisonous culture, this satanic culture, want to be the head of their group, want to be the alpha, want to be the biggest in the group, want to be the cool person, the cool guy in the cool group, the in group, and that leads to people being miserable and sad and just not doing good in life, and them prioritizing what shouldn't be prioritized, and them and religion and proper culture and a proper life can get rid of someone wanting to be the cool person in the cool group and in the in group, where they don't care about that as much. And people being miserable because of wanting sex or wanting a woman or a man or whoever can be minimized, because that's a satanic culture. Wanting to be cool and seen and wanting a woman or a man too much more than normal, because some of that stuff is normal and natural, but it's been elevated and exaggerated because of satanic cultures, and also, you know, by proxy, like human cultures, people prioritize what they shouldn't and what they don't need to. Like in movies, specifically, people like monkey see, monkey do. In movies, there'll be like a character that really wants a girl, and then people will idolize. People will relate to that character and subconsciously want to have that person's moral outlook and outlook on life and not become them, and they won't even realize it's happening. It'll be all subconscious. If you see a bunch of different movies while you're growing up, and it's all about cool kids and wanting to be cool and wanting always to be a girl, and you see in that movie, even when the movie isn't about that, if you see a bunch of movies and TV shows and there's a cool group of kids, you might subconsciously want and prioritize wanting to be a cool kid in a cool group, in the in group, and then you're miserable because you can never attain that. So in order to be happy, you have to work on attaining that. And some people can have goals like that and a subconscious like that and attain it and work for it. And it's normal and natural to some extent. But it can be hard to always want to be someone like that. And there's many, many, many other examples, not just because of TV, but because of culture, people around them, people in school. And this is all culture and subculture and how it's poisoning our minds slowly, like the frog boiling in a pot of water, and no one notices it because they just accept it as Western culture. They just accept it as normal. They just accept it like the new normal, coronavirus, like how we all accepted the masks. We all accepted the coronavirus as normal now, and that's going to be the new thing in Ukraine. A year from now, there will be, what's the news about Ukraine? Oh, still artillery shells flying. You know, this is normal. And then what's going to happen a year later? And a year later? I mean, in next year, there's still going to be reports once in a while about coronavirus. How do you know a new variant isn't going to come out soon? A gigantic new variant where it's like we're distracted by Ukraine now, and people are like, oh, whatever about the coronavirus. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, don't forget about that. Don't forget about the coronavirus. Now look at this. Like, look at this hand. Don't see what we're doing next with the coronavirus. And then all of a sudden, it's like some new variant. Like 2 months ago, it talked about something about pigs. I mean, you never know what could happen with this. So, crazy stuff going on in this world. And it's just a warning, because with all the stuff in Ukraine, and that's another thing, is the economy. But that's something I don't know as much about. Economy is really hard to understand. And it basically boils down to rich people bad. Not every rich person is bad. I'm saying that that's an oversimplified and negative way and a bad way to put it, like a stereotype. But I'd say that the Illuminati bad. Deep state bad. Very, very rich people bad. 1% bad. When I say rich, I don't mean the guy that lives in a mansion in your neighborhood. When I say rich, that's a word that can be misinterpreted. And that's why I always say speech is very important. One of my golden rules, my rules are when I say something, I want to make sure our definitions are the same. When I say rich, in that particular sentence, I was talking about the Illuminati and the deep state. Now, someone else might say, well, I have a friend who's rich and he has like a big house, he lives next to me. That's not what I meant. So, like it says in the Bible, it's easier to go through the eye of a needle than something about a camel in the eye of a needle. That is a very, it's easier to go to heaven. Something. It says a bunch of crazy stuff. I would never want someone not to go to heaven just because they're rich. But if all the rich people in the world pooled their money together, like, why do they need that much money? I'm not saying I want any of it. I'm not saying I particularly want that money. I'm saying, what about the people in Africa? What about the people in India? What about, like, science funding? What if someone pooled all those rich people into another machine? Because people can pile together like sticks in a machine, meaning people can pile together like a bunch of sticks won't break. Groups are stronger than one person. A group is stronger than the individual. So what if a bunch of rich people piled their money together, and they all sacrificed and wanted to be homeless and said, well, I have billions of dollars, but I'm going to go and be homeless. And I'm going to give my billions of dollars all to funding Africa. I mean, it's never that simple. I mean, I was going to say one of the things to do is getting people closer together. So, like, if you have, Africa's giant, and what if you pooled people together and you paid for plane trips and helicopter rides for every single village to be in one united country together so that they're easier to feed, so that the amount of fuel it takes to get there and the amount of money it takes to transport the amount of food per weight is lesser, so that people can get food to Africa easier. They don't have to go to every single village and every single individual village and unite Africa into one giant country divided into many sections and states. And then, boom, bam, you solved Africa, as in I solved Africa. But it's never that simple, because what if they don't like each other? Now, then that's when Satanists come in. That's, I'd say, or Satanism. It's Satanist. It's bad it's divisive, divided. People are divided, and they shouldn't be divided by their tribe or the past, or what I think in mostly Africa, it's the past and tribe to tribe, and different tribes war with each other based on past grievances that they should forgive each other for. And religion, a new instatement of some form of religion upon their culture and their religion, mix their religion and their culture with a little bit of Christianity, or a little bit of, what I call my religion, Jesusism. I don't call it that, but, mix what I want, have them pray to their own gods, but say, well, you pray to your gods, we'll pray to ours, and we don't fight, and now there's no more wars, and Africa can be happy. And once people stop worrying about Africa, which they don't, no one cares about Africa anymore. It's normal, quote unquote. People think about it as normal that there's people starving in Africa. If you saw someone outside your house begging for food If you saw an African tribe outside of your house begging for food, it might make you not want to eat anymore. It might make you not want to just call Domino's and say, hey, can you just come to my house within 20 minutes? Half an hour, it's free, right? It might make you feel sick if you were reminded of that constantly. When you're watching TV, smoking weed, drinking, having sex, doing whatever in the West, and you are flipping on your TV and then it says, do you have 1 cent a day? Most people say, oh, someone else will do it. I'm not going to do it. What's the point? 1 cent? I'm going to donate 1 cent a day? Who cares? That's why humans pooling together in groups are always more powerful than the rest, which is one of the reasons that it could be used for negative or positive reasons. And, like the rich people all getting together against us. And a lot of it happened by accident, where some things in life might happen by accident. We're like, this caused this to happen, this caused this, and in turn, this and this happened, for negative or worse. Not just with the rich people, not just with what I'm talking about. Also, there's Satan doing stuff too. Like the $20. Unseen and unexpected results can happen from a response or a variable or factors that are unseen. So, I don't really know what to go with that one, but yeah. Like I said, demons are hunting Jesus Christ. And I'm obviously not schizophrenic or delusional or mentally ill. I don't know if, I hope that some of my other videos, people might think they only hear me reporting on demons, demonic activities. And in the past, I do have it on recording that people have bought what I've bought. And if you see this and you don't think about me as schizophrenic or delusional, watch my video that I just posted today, earlier, around 7 or 8, where it's a condensed version of every single thing, or about, I don't know, 80, I don't know, however many pictures and activities these demons have done to me. And I'd say it's well over 80. So look at my other work and decide for yourself if I'm schizophrenic and delusional. Not that a schizophrenic or delusional person can't be smart, but it's definitely not the norm or the average. And someone who is smart and intelligent when they're schizophrenic and delusional probably isn't into politics and psychology based on statistics. So there's always that too. And warn everyone too. Like I said in my videos, please like, share, and subscribe. Now it's warn everyone. You should definitely warn everyone. And even this, it's like that's one of the things that people do whenever I'm like walking by them, is they'll just like have their hands like that. Like, I don't know, try walking like that. Like, how do you feel? I feel kind of awkward, right? Walk around like this with like red. Just like that's what he's going to put in his storage unit. I don't know, maybe he's getting something from here. But whatever, right? Just happens to be walking and also limping. Because I don't have my cane right now because I left it on the bus. So, it's always that. Everybody makes mistakes, right? That's always what I would want to preach. Everybody can make mistakes. And, okay, so, hopefully you guys watch my other videos, because some of it is psychological, some of it talks about the simulation, which I can prove is real. Some of it proves other stuff, and mostly I'm working on demonic activities right now, which is proving that demons are real, that everyone needs to, I would never want to suggest violence. Now, violence is always bad. I would never preach for that, and violence should never be used. But what's happening now is everyone needs to unite together and become some sort of unbreakable, unbeatable machine where everybody turns their lives over to me, no matter how crazy it seems. Now, if you were in the past and you saw Jesus walking around, wouldn't you want to be his disciple? Wouldn't you want to be a brethren or a sisterin or someone to him, whatever words people might use or want to use? Wouldn't you want to be someone on his side? And if you're on his side, you're on God's side. And if you're on God's side, you're on heaven's side. And if you ignore, I would want to say it's guilty by association. If you don't stand up and do something, it's guilty by association.